The cafeteria was loud with chatter, laughter, and the occasional sound of a soda can cracking open. But in one quiet corner sat a girl no one seemed to notice. At least not yet. Her name was Emily. She was the new transfer student, the kind who kept her head down and her voice soft. She carried an old sketchbook wherever she went, scribbling lines and colors like they were her only shield against the world. She wanted nothing more than to blend in. But in high school, being different was like painting a target on your back, and the bullies were about to notice. It started small. A group of boys, led by Jason, the kind of kid who thought he ruled the school, decided to make Emily their entertainment. He kicked her chair on the first day, smirked when her pencil fell to the floor, and whispered insults just loud enough for her to hear. Emily tried to ignore them, tried to stay invisible. But Jason wasn't done. By the end of the week, his group had cornered her in the hallway. "Hey, new girl," he sneered, snatching the sketchbook out of her hands. "What's this? Doodles. You think you're some kind of artist?" The other kids laughed as Jason flipped through the pages, mocking the drawings. But what no one realized was that Emily wasn't just drawing random things. Each sketch told a story, her story. The pain of leaving behind her old life, the loneliness she felt, the nights she spent awake crying into her pillow. That book was her heart on paper, and now it was in the hands of someone who wanted to tear her down. For a moment, Emily froze. Her chest tightened, her throat burned. She had faced this before at her old school, and back then, she had walked away in silence. But something inside her had changed this time. Maybe it was the months of bottled-up pain. Maybe it was the memory of her father's words before he passed. "Never let anyone decide your worth, Emily. You're stronger than you know." Whatever it was, Emily decided she wasn't going to let them break her again. She stepped forward, her voice shaking at first but growing steadier with every word. "Give it back." Jason laughed in her face. "Or what? You gonna cry about it?" Emily's eyes locked on his, and for the first time, Jason saw something that unsettled him: courage. Calm, unflinching courage. "No," she said firmly. "But you're going to stop." The crowd around them grew silent. It wasn't just what she said. It was the way she said it. Everyone expected Emily to back down, to shrink into herself. Instead, she stepped closer, her shoulders squared, her voice louder now. "You think you're strong because you've got people laughing with you? That's not strength. That's weakness. Real strength is standing on your own without tearing someone else down." Jason blinked, unsure of how to respond. His friends shifted uncomfortably. The silence stretched, and the confidence he wore like armor began to crack. He tried to laugh it off, but the smirk on his face faltered when he realized no one else was laughing anymore. "Just give it back," one of the boys muttered, suddenly looking embarrassed. Jason shoved the sketchbook into Emily's hands, but Emily wasn't done. She opened it and turned to a page. A drawing of a girl standing alone in the rain, her face streaked with tears but her hands holding up a torch. She held it high for everyone to see. "This is me," she said. "I've been through more than you'll ever know. And I'll tell you this, every insult, every shove, every cruel laugh only makes me stronger. So go ahead. Try to break me. I'll just rise higher." The cafeteria was so quiet you could hear the hum of the vending machine. Jason's face burned red, and for the first time in his life, he didn't look powerful. He looked small. And then, something no one expected happened. He whispered, "I'm sorry." His voice cracked, and his friends quickly echoed him, their bravado gone. Emily nodded. She didn't smile, she didn't gloat. She simply walked past them, sketchbook held tightly against her chest, her head high. From that day forward, everything changed. People who had once looked away began nodding at her in the halls. Some even came up to her, asking to see her art. Slowly, Emily found herself surrounded by friends she never thought she'd have. And the bullies. They never bothered her again. But the real victory wasn't in silencing them. It was in discovering her own strength. Emily learned that courage isn't about fighting with fists or shouting the loudest. It's about standing up for yourself, even when your voice shakes, about knowing your worth even when others don't. Months later, Emily's art was featured in the school's annual showcase. One of her pieces, a painting of a girl breaking free from chains, brought the audience to tears. And when Jason saw it, he quietly walked up to her after the show. He didn't have a crowd behind him this time, just his own guilty conscience. "Your art, it's amazing," he said softly. "I was wrong about you." Emily looked at him, her eyes calm, steady. "You were wrong about yourself too," she replied. "You don't have to be that guy anymore." And for once, Jason didn't argue. Emily's story spread beyond the walls of that school, whispered from one person to another like a reminder, hey, sometimes the quietest voices carry the strongest power. And sometimes, standing up to a bully doesn't just change your life. It changes theirs too.